All right, we are busting through your calls. It's the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas. 888-201-2244 or 512-646-1776. That's 888-201-2244. Let's jump to Mike in Missouri. Mike, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason, I just wondered if you was doing anything for 9/11. Tell me what you're doing. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, man.
You know, I don't know. I've had a couple offers. I really wanted to go down to New York City, but I'm just so busy with Invisible Empire. I'm not going to be able to make like a 4 or 5 day trip down there. I really just don't have the scratch to spend either. I've gotten some offers to speak. All right, we got to let him go. Sorry, Mike. I would have liked to hear what you were doing, but just the static. I've gotten some offers to speak around Austin. I don't know necessarily if I'm actually going to be doing anything this year. It's kind of unfortunate. I do have a bunch of Loose Change Final Cut DVDs in my office, so if nothing else, I'll be handing those DVDs out on 9/11 somewhere, whether it's in Texas or some other event or no event or, on a street corner. I think it's important that we get this information out there. Who knows? Maybe I'll even do a special Friday broadcast on 9/11. I got to talk to Jones about it, but I want to do something. I want people to feel motivated. I want people down at ground zero handing out our information. Yes, sir.
We got plenty of stuff coming up for 9/11 this week. Everybody just tune in later in the week.
All right, there you go. You've got it.
And Bermas is making Invisible Empire. I'm making Fall of the Republic. That'll reach tens of millions of people. That's what our films reach. And so we've been to New York. We're supporting. We're having We Are Change, promoting groups who are doing events all over the country and the world. So that's what's going on.
All right, thank you, sir. Let's jump to John in Oklahoma. John, you're on the line. Yes, sir.
I was wondering if you or Alex have ever heard of a British documentarian named Adam Curtis.
No, I have not.
He's got some videos online. You can find them at Google. Specifically, The Power of Nightmares.
Oh, I've seen The Power of Nightmares. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that was his name.
The Trap. What happened to our dream of freedom?
I have not watched The Trap, but for those that don't know about The Power of Nightmares, The Power of Nightmares is this 3-part BBC documentary. I think each part's around 90 minutes, and it basically breaks down how Al-Qaeda was created by the Muslim Brotherhood and the U.S. financing behind it, and, how Al-Qaeda really translate into the base from one CIA document. It's an excellent documentary series.
It is, and also The Century of the Self is made by the same guy, but because I was wondering where the history of all this came in, because things really changed after 2001, I noticed. They were easing up, and then there was that definitive something's in the air, something isn't right.
Well, you know what it was? It was the
Nightmares really brought that home to me, exactly what was going on, the shift in consciousness.
Let me say this, John. If they had their way in 93, and the World Trade Center had toppled from its base into another tower and wreaked havoc and killed thousands of people, you would have seen an acceleration. We would have been in Afghanistan. We would have been in Iraq. This all would have went down under Clinton. Because that plan failed, they had to back off for a little while. And they decided to go the soft route with the domestic terror and the OKC bombing. And instead of thousands dying, a few hundred died, and people weren't as suspicious 2 years later because there were some mainline reports. Hey, these guys that just bombed the World Trade Center were working with the FBI. I remember seeing them. Alex has showed some of them in his pictures. I have a couple that I have not used in any of my movies, but people were ready to wake up then. They really, again, this is before the internet. This is before you could just go to YouTube and download a video. Information was closed off in so many circles. If it wasn't on TV, if you couldn't rent the VHS tape, it was very hard to tell people about this information. It's not like that anymore, and that's why they screwed up big with 9/11, because a guy like me may never have woken up to beyond the false left-right paradigm. I would have considered myself, somebody who liked to watch Bill Maher. I guess I was a liberal. I would have never woken up unless this open source information was out there. And that's why they're so desperately trying to regulate the internet and bring in Internet 2 so they can start censoring us on a mass level. They've already censored us quite a bit. I mean, I've shown Google Video freezing our views, taking down the counters, trying to, manipulate how many people can see us. Go ahead.
And what I really learned from The Power of Nightmares is that the new politic is be afraid. Because if you stay afraid, then we can protect you.
That's
and there's
absolutely
nothing to be
correct.
afraid of.
That's right.
You know,
we have nothing to fear but fear itself. And the real fear should be that nobody's talking about the truth and that we continue with these wars of aggression, that the Obama administration is openly saying that we're going to be in Iraq until the end of 2011. And by the way, at the end of 2011, we're going to have 50,000 troops still there. And then Michael Moore will be overly apologetic and say, oh, Obama fakes right and then goes left. I'll be shocked if he has 50,000 troops in Iraq by 2011. 2011 ain't that far away.
It makes me wonder how much of the information that they're putting out isn't just propaganda to keep us afraid.
Oh, the majority of it is. I mean, you look at Tom Ridge coming out now saying in 2004 they upped the terror hype level, the little color-coded Johnny nonsense they like to instill fear people for the election. I mean, that's absolutely admitted. And Bush still lost the election to his cousin, but his cousin refused to actually get the votes counted, and he just bowed down and said, don't worry, King George. We knew you were going to be president. It's your establishment that's going to be in power. I thank you for the call, John. Let's jump to Frank in Illinois. Frank, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason, how you doing? I haven't been able to catch your show in a while. I was just wondering when your new movie's coming out.
The new movie will be out February 12th, 2010. I know I put winter 2010 in the trailer. That means February. I'm not working on it for another year. I initially wanted to release it around Christmas time. We weren't able to get the staff hired in order to do that. I recently got a new graphics guy. I mean, I hope you enjoyed the trailer. I really want to give this film a look. I want it to look like something no one's ever seen before, and I'm hoping that this does for the New World Order what Loose Change did for 9/11 Truth. In other words, brings it semi-mainstream, makes it a buzzword, gets people to understand what it means. So look for it in February. Anything else?
No, that's all. Thanks a lot, Jason.
You got it, Frank. Thanks for the support. Justin in Texas. Justin, you're on the line. Yes, sir. Justin, going once.
Yes, I was wondering if Alex Jones deception.
Oh, this guy again. I mean, again, you didn't learn your lesson after last week. I mean, I'm wondering if you're promoting the Alex Jones deception when the guy who made it beats his kids, and it's open news. I mean, I'm not even going to say anything else other than that. But I've never hit a child in my life, and I never intend to. But apparently, people who like to make kook documentaries out there just can't help but beat their kids in public and then get arrested for it. All right, let's just switch some gears to some new news here. Now, I read this, and this may not be top-of-the-line news. We should probably be talking about the 2,000 students. And by the way, that was about 1/10 of the school population at one university that apparently got swine flu. I thought we'd see more mainline stories about that. Maybe they're just prepping people. I'm not sure. But this one really caught my eye. Schoolgirl wanted to lose virginity before Large Hadron Collider caused the end of the world. Now, obviously, there are huge questions about the Large Hadron Collider and what it's able to do. You know, whether or not this is going to cause a black hole, whether or not there's going to be some kind of disaster, whether or not they're going to be able to recreate the origin of life. But what I think this speaks to more than anything is a culture of fear, okay? And that culture of fear, this girl, I mean, you're always going to have stupid people, folks. And this poor girl, got tricked into some act with some boy in a bathroom. But here's where it gets weird. Some other boy was in the bathroom taping it with his cell phone, and then it got all around school. People were texting it to one another. Now, we do live in this era where everything we do is basically recorded. And we live in an era where people are growing up with cell phones. They think it's okay to record everything. I mean, what kind of a moral society do we live in? What kind of a moral society do we live in when, a 13 or 14-year-old boy tapes an underage act and then spreads it around school? Now, this isn't just, I took a picture for my boyfriend. I mean, this is some hardcore stuff. And these are 13, 14, 15-year-old kids. It shows that the parents, don't have control over their children. They're not involved in their kid's life. That they are just promoting idiocy. I mean, this girl, should have went to her parents and asked them about the Large Hadron Collider, but they were probably, it's Europe, so I'm going to guess they were too busy with soccer. Football's not big there. The other football's big there. But I thought that was super interesting. Now, the next section of the G20 is coming up, and what are they saying they're going to do? They're going to curb back bank bonuses. Haven't they been saying that they were going to do this from the very get-go? That bank bonuses were a thing in the past and we're regulating these huge salaries? No, they're not. It's just a headline the people want to see while they bring in their global currency, their global governance. That's the fact of the matter. Okay, when Gordon Brown gets up there and says this cavalier cowboy attitude of the banks taking over is no longer going to be happening. You work for the banks. You work for the establishment. You promote a new world order. I mean, come on. Bonuses for bankers throughout the Western world will, for the first time, be subject to limits and checks as soon as next year. So they're actually just saying, yeah, you're going to get screwed over in public for another year plus. Give me a break. Oh, wanted to read this one, show you how corrupt other nations can be. I mean, they don't even screw around in Mexico, man.